My name is Stephanie Shearer. I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and I've lived in Canaan, Connecticut for about 11 years.
My name is Todd Shearer. I am a North Canaan resident, and my background is engineering. I'm currently a robotics engineer, and we've lived in Canaan for
My name is Chuck Lewis. I'm a selectman in Falls Village and a retired supervisor with the State Department of Correction prison system for many years.
They sort of idealized sort of an egalitarian society without really knowing how to throw off like the cultural confines they were still in.
So you would support their ideas but not how they carry them? I
would support their process. Like, you're getting closer, right? Like, you're getting closer to what is right for humans.
Transcendentalist idea? I know something about the transcendental ideology. I am not a transcendentalist.
You don't consider yourself?
I'm a Christian.
Yeah, so the transcendental philosophy of very much individual rights, break down whether it be churches, religions, government, anything like that. I understand that, so I guess I do kind of feel more or sympathize more with the transcendentalists, just in terms of I do feel everybody should take responsibility for themselves, but the missing piece there is again the community aspect of it.
This is a big question. I would get rid of institutions.
Such as?
Schools, churches, government in the existing form.
I think, what would I do to change society? It's stop buying into all the noise that society actually wants us, that leadership, government really wants us to not focus on. So it's all this noise that's happening in society, ignore it. Keep the television off, don't pay attention to it. Don't feel you need to occupy every minute of your kid's time with a sanctioned event. Just be bored sometimes. Just focus on your community. Try to do stuff in your community that, there's actually plenty of time to do stuff if you don't do all the other things.
I think when people stand back and not be involved in government and just take pot shots at their leaders or pot shots at their neighbors and without any involvement whatsoever, I think that's where this government, where this nation needs to improve. We need to promote individual freedoms, yes, but we need to also promote a sense of social responsibility for the individual to be involved in government and in society. And that's what I would improve.
Do you prefer a more hands-on?
A government should only intervene when it has to. Otherwise, put it this way, the national government should only intervene when it has to. And in general, governments should allow individual freedoms until they come in conflict with other people. So I think generally the individual and states' rights should predominate, and federal government should only involve itself as absolutely necessary.
It's individual rights or group rights. I mean, when you talk about the NSA, what you're talking about is the elite controlling the masses. That's all, Something bad happens, the masses cry out for some kind of help, security, when really you can build that into your own community. And when you ask people up here who have all the power, you're giving your power away.
All right.
People have individual freedom to live their own lives as long as they're not slandering or libeling other people, inciting to riot. They have a freedom of speech, basically within the context of not hurting others.
So as long as you aren't infringing on someone else's rights?
In general, yes. The government does have some responsibility to protect a person from himself, though, if he's going to harm himself.
Gun control.
I'm a Second Amendment person. I believe in the rights of an individual to bear arms. I think there needs to be some controls over guns. I think there need to be background checks for purchase of new guns. I believe that automatic weapons should not be in the hands of the public without special permit. But otherwise, I believe in the right of the individual, if he's a responsible individual, to bear arms.
It's an issue you know I care passionately about, so here is my position, loud and clear. I'm in favour of a nationwide ban on military-style semi-automatic assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I want to close the gun show loopholes and require private dealers to run background checks on buyers at gun shows. And I'd like to see the President increase federal funding for mental health treatment for all Americans who need it. I think these are entirely reasonable reactions to the outrages that have occurred in America over the last few months. But tonight, I'll go head-to-head with a man who actually wants to deport me for having these very views.
And the mega banks that control the planet and brag that they've taken over, in Bloomberg, AP, Reuters, you name it, brag that they're going to get our guns as well. They've taken everybody's guns but the Swiss and the American people. And when they get our guns, they can have their world tyranny. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Your belief, unless I'm wrong.
First time anybody's ever heard this, by the way.
Your belief, unless I'm wrong, is that under the Second Amendment, your real concern is that you will be overrun by a tyrannical regime.
I think public awareness of how good vaccines are for kids and how they are good for public health is a great idea. You know, we just appointed a Surgeon General. These are some of the things that we should promote as good for our health. But I don't think there's anything extraordinary about resorting to freedom.
My concern has always been not that we shouldn't do intelligence gathering to prevent terrorism, but rather, are we setting up a systems of checks and balances? So on this telephone program, you've got a federal court with independent federal judges overseeing the entire program, and you've got Congress overseeing the program, not just the Intelligence Committee, not just the Judiciary Committee, but all of Congress had available to it before the last reauthorization exactly how this program works.
Talk a little bit about how the American surveillance state actually functions. Does it target the actions of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends.